There's a second type of infinitive that we're going to be exploring in this series of video clips. This type of infinitive is called the infinitive construct. Before we had spoken about the infinitive absolute, which is that double language where you have, for example, yadoa teda, and you add the word surely in the middle, like surely, surely. But this is infinitive construct. So they're both similar in that they're in infinitive, right? They're both going to be infinite, but their use and their translation will be different. It's important to remember that infinitives get their name of being infinite in that they the same conjugation will apply to all time. So the same word can either be past or future. It applies to all numbers. So the same word could be singular or plural. All gender, it could be either masculine or feminine. And all people, first person, second person, third person. So I, you, he, they, etc. will all be conjugated in an identical fashion. For our purposes, the best way to identify an infinitive construct is to look for a preposition before a shoresh. By far, the most frequent prepositions that appear before a shoresh to indicate that it's an infinitive construct are what I call the kelev letters. The kelev letters, on one hand, the word kelev means dog, right? But the kelev letters are inseparable prepositions. The kaf is a preposition that appears right before a shoresh. The lamed is a preposition that appears right before a shoresh, as the bet is a preposition that could appear right before a shoresh. If any three of these letters appear before a shoresh, it indicates that I'm dealing with an infinitive construct. The lamed prefix before an infinitive construct would be conjugated as follows. You generally have a chirik right before a shva, so you have one dot, and then you have two dots, so you have a chirik and then a shva, and then you have a cholam, one dot. So you have 1, 2, 1, and the cholam could either appear cholam chaser, just the dot, or you can have a cholam malay, the vav appearing right there. Okay, so here we have the conjugation lichtov, lishmor, and lilbosh. Notice my beged kefet after a resting shva, right? So beged kefet, the letters that get a dagesh at the beginning of a word, or after a silent shva, resting shva, shvanach, which is what I have here. Let us practice the conjugation. So to remember, so I have my lamed prefix plus my shoresh, zayin, chaf, resh, and my nikudot will be 1 dot, 2 dots, 1 dot, liz, kor, chirik, shva, cholam. Okay, liz, kor, beged kefet after resting shva. To find, I have my lamed prefix plus my shoresh, mem, sadi, aleph, and that becomes lim, so, chirik, shva, cholam, and I can spell it with or without the vav for the cholam malay, or chaser. To call, lamed prefix, plus kuf, resh, aleph, and my nikudot will be, again, 1 dot, 2 dots, 1 dot, a chirik, shva, cholam. Here I put a cholam chaser. You could have had it with the vav cholam malay. To rule, so I have lamed, and there are different ways you could do rule. I'm going to do the shoresh mem lamed chaf, and that would be lim loch. Okay, lim loch, 1 dot, 2 dots, 1 dot, and because the chaf sofit, the final chaf, I get the shva. Okay, so I have lim loch. This is how I conjugate lamed prefix before a shoresh. Here we see the lamed prefix before a shoresh appearing in the psukim. In the first pasuk here in Bereshit, Vayomer Yitzchak el beno. So Yitzchak said to his son, Mazeh, what's this? Miharta, that you hurried, lim so, Bini. What's limso? Limso is just to find, right? But I notice my nikudot, 1 dot, 2 dots, 1 dot. Chirik, shva, cholam. And bini is my son. Okay, number 7. Vayeshev Moshe lishpot et ha'am. So Vayeshev, what's the shoresh? The shoresh is Yud, Shin, Bet, which means that Moshe sat lishpot et ha'am. Notice my word lishpot follows the formula we've been describing. I get a chirik, a shva, beged kefet after a resting shvat, not pay, and then I get a cholam. Okay, so Moshe sat to judge the people. Vayamod ha'am al Moshe. So the people stood. Al could be near. It's not always on. The people stood near Moshe. Min haboker, from the morning, ad ha'arev, until evening. Okay, look at number 8. Vayishlach Moshe lekro. So Moshe sent to call. So notice lekro again follows the formula of a chirik, a shva, and then a cholam. Moshe sent to call the Datan Vilav Aviram, to Datan and Aviram, Bnei Eliav, children of Eliav, Vayomru, and they said, Lo na'aleh. Na'aleh, we will not go up. Okay, Lo na'aleh, we will not go up. Here we see the structure, chirik, shva, cholam, is really the pattern for nikudot for a lamed before a shoresh.